Welcome to the Rose Show podcast. I am so honored to be here today with an amazing multidimensional person who embodies the positive growth mindset. International chess master Keaton Kiewra. There you are.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
You're
Rosanna. Thank you for
welcome.
that.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to just tell everyone a little bit about you. Of course, not everything, because we have so many wonderful discussions planned. Everything from the mindset to chess to your whole background and your spirituality, psychology. You embody so much, Keaton.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're an international chess master and you have 2 Grandmaster Norms. So impressive. You're also a chess author. We have your book, of course, and a fantastic book, Tarot Con and The Slav is Black. I love that, but my kids love that book.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, and you're an amazing chess instructor. You've actually had lessons with my oldest son, Paris. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Paris is a great young man, and of course that was a great story in and of itself. How we originally connected, seeing you guys at a San Diego
Farmers
farmers
market.
market. Yeah,
Absolutely. I was just going to say that.
recognized his chest jacket.
Yes, you remember. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was Little Italy, San Diego Farmers Market. You were
that's right.
walking around with Joshua Sheng.
I was there with Josh Sheng. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the kids had that like World Cadet uniform.
That's
And then
right.
we
Yeah.
connected. And then Paris, of course, recognized you. He's like, oh, that's
Small world, isn't it?
right. Very small world to have all these
Yeah.
chess masters over there at the farmers market, but that's the place to be in San Diego. You have won countless championships in chess. You were, I think, 9 years as Nebraska State chess champ. And then you
Right.
also won like 6 titles in the Scholastic. Is that correct?
Yes. That's
Wow.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Impressive.
Well, thank
Then,
you. It was a completely different playing field back then, but yeah, it was
yeah, well,
I was glad to be able to do it.
yeah, well, that's great. And then you received a chess scholarship to University of Texas at Dallas, where you studied
Correct.
psychology.
Yeah.
And now you've been a chess instructor since.
That's
So,
right. Yeah.
yeah. So, Keaton, how are you doing today? Before we get started, how's everything?
Well, I'm doing amazing. I think my ego is just sky high right now after that incredible introduction. So thank you for all your kind words, and I'm just so happy to be here today, and just so excited for your show. And to the connection, I think, between chess and psychology and spirituality. I'm so just so excited to delve into that today.
Absolutely. I call it like the intersection of chess, psychology, mindset, and spirituality. And, it's the holistic approach to life, and investing, I talk about, and chess, in all these type of, fields. It's about the holistic, and mindset comprises about 80% of everything we do in competition and in everything. So it's so key to be centered and to be in touch with all those elements. So,
Absolutely.
thank you, Keaton. Tell us, how did it all begin for you in chess? How did you discover chess, this passion you have?
Well, I discovered it simply because I liked strategic games as a kid, and my dad had dabbled in chess, and so he decided to teach me chess since it was the ultimate strategic game. And when he first taught it to me, I was 4 years old, and I didn't really get it. I didn't really pick it up. But then he gave it another try a few years later when I was 7, and I guess at that point my brain was developed enough that it made a little more sense, and I loved it. I just really took to chess, and so I used to start out playing games with my dad, and then I think at some point I watched the Searching for Bobby Fischer movie and really felt inspired by that. And I was like, wait a minute, there are chess tournaments. Let me give that a try. So I think just playing with family and friends, and then getting more into the bigger world of chess, it always really called to me. It was always just something that I loved and that I had great passion for.
Love that. It called you. That's very meaningful for you and I, as we are both very in tune with intuition and the
Hmm.
spirituality. So it called you, and it was a fun game that you enjoyed. You played with your dad. At one point, did you start competing on that big stage? And we know, and I know from my kids competing on that similar stage, that it can get very tough, and there are a lot of challenges, and it can get very heartbreaking when you have those losses. At what point did you just keep going and go to that level?
Well, I think I played my first national competition when I was in third grade, if I remember
Mhm.
right. And it went well. I went 6-1, and I think tied for third place or something like that. And so that was a surprise. I wasn't really expecting to do that well, but I did well. And yeah, if of course it's hard to remember something that long ago, but I do kind of remember the thrill, the excitement. I remember it was, just the whole experience of getting to travel, and stay in a hotel and play chess. I had already played several scholastic tournaments in Nebraska, but to be able to play on that kind of stage, was really exciting to me. So I think at that point I was hooked, and I started playing the nationals regularly. And then it was in sixth grade where I was able to capture my first national scholastic championship.
Wow, impressive. So, how did you deal with those losses? I know from having three sons who played, and the losses are hard. Were you always of
Yeah.
the mindset that you take those losses and you learn from them, or did it hurt? How were you in
Oh,
that
it
state?
definitely hurt. I wouldn't say that my perspective was super evolved back then. I
Mhm.
wouldn't say that I dealt with the losses very well. I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely the higher my expectations were and my hopes were, the bigger the stage was, the more the losses hurt. I think I still enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed the drama and the uncertainty and the competition, and the stage that I was
Mhm.
was competing on. But certainly when I would lose critical games, there was a great deal of pain and disappointment. And that was
Mhm.
all part of the experience, part of the journey.
How did you cope with that pain?
It's a good question. I'm not sure I really have a great answer to it. I think maybe I channeled it into motivation
Nice.
to work harder. I think
Good.
at least on some level I knew that the journey wasn't going to be all success. So I think I did know that the losses and the pain was an inevitability. But that didn't necessarily make it a lot easier. But I'd say I probably channeled it into motivation to work harder toward my goals.
Wow. Well, you definitely achieved quite a bit, and your story is very inspiring for everyone. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
sharing that. Now, did you have mentors or other chess players that inspired you, or non-chess players that inspired you?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a big yes, and that's a place where I've been very blessed throughout my whole life. I've had fantastic mentors in so many walks of life, but yes, I always had very good mentors in chess. My primary coach throughout my youth was Dr. Tom O'Connor, who
Oh,
was a local chess expert, a university professor, and pretty prolific chess coach in Lincoln, Nebraska, where I grew up. And I first started working with Tom in third grade, and we just really hit it off. And he was just an amazing coach for me and an amazing person. And it's incredible to think back. That was, more than 25 years ago, and Tom and I are still best friends today. We still talk all the time and get together all the time. We're very close. So that's just been an incredible mentorship throughout my life. Tom's been just
Oh,
a great chess coach and a great mentor and a great friend.
oh, that's so wonderful. I've had that support, and now to this day, still be in touch and be close friends.
Yeah,
Um,
that's pretty amazing.
that is
Going on almost
amazing.
30 years now. So yeah.
That's amazing. So you won in these scholastic events, and then you kept going, and you kept going, and then you became an international master, and you have two Grandmaster Norms. Now, that's rare. That is a special elite group of people. It's just amazing. What was
Well,
going
thank
through
you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. What was going through your mind during that time period? Can you go back and the Keaton of those years ago? What was going through your mind? Were you just wanting that IM? Were you wanting GM? What were your goals and what were your motivations at that time?
Well, I think one thing that was even more rare was that I actually made both of my GM norms before I had my IM title.
Wow.
So I was
That,
a FIDE master with two GM norms. And I've had four norm performances in my career. So four GM norm performances. So my first one was in 2008 in Kavala in Greece, and that was my first norm of any kind. And then um, my second GM norm came at the 2011 Berkeley International, which was run by today my good friend Arun Sharma,
mm-hmm,
who's a big time chess player and organizer in the Bay Area. And so that was my second GM norm, and I was still a FIDE master then. I hadn't made IM, and then since then I've had two other norm performances which haven't counted for various reasons. Like in one, I won a game on forfeit, and then another, I played too many people from the same federation. There's a lot of um, a lot of rules around GM norms. A lot of things have to go right
mm-hmm,
in order to get the norm. So I've been able to do that, but I've never been able to get my FIDE rating to 2,500. The closest I ever got was about 2,460, and then I came down from there. So still, I was about 40 points away, which isn't really that. It sounds reasonably close, but it's not really that close at that level. But but yeah, anyway, so I made those norms, and I made IM when I was 25, so that was about 10 years ago. I'm 35 now. So what was that experience like, or what was going through my mind? Well, I think I always wanted to make GM. That was kind of always my ultimate goal. I suppose when I was first starting out, I wanted to be world champion, but then when I realized how hard that was, and I realized that GM was actually attainable, that kind of became my main goal. So it was always a huge goal for me to make GM. And I was certainly on that path. I was certainly on the right path. I think had things continued the way they were going, I think I would have made GM, and I don't think it really would have taken that much longer. But I think just the way the landscape of chess really changed about 5 years ago or so, I think that made it much harder for me to make GM, and that also made it such that really I wouldn't have even wanted to have the GM title, because I just don't think I would be deserving of it. I think the way chess was at that time, I was close to GM strength, but I think the way chess is today, with the strength of the young players who are at the top of their field, I just don't think I have the skill set anymore that I really should be a GM.
mm. Very humble. I like to ask you, when you talk about the differences in chess, you said 5 years ago there was changes. What happened? What are the changes? If you could just explain to us, so we can all understand, what are the changes from when you received your IM norm back when you were 25 and now?
Great question. So I think what changed, I think it's really been the technological revolution. And it's just that people, especially the young people, can get so good at chess now just
Mm-hmm.
from anywhere. And it especially doesn't reflect in their ratings. So the title system, like GM, that's dependent on players' ratings. And these days, people can get so good at chess without it reflecting in their rating, especially their FIDE rating. Because it's like you can get really good just playing online. You don't even really need to play tournaments. But even if you're playing like certain USCF rated tournaments that might not be FIDE rated, then it's still not going to reflect in your FIDE rating. So I think it was just an epidemic of very underrated young players. And, as someone around 30 years old, I was the old man at all these tournaments. It was rare that I would play someone older than me at a tournament. So I'm playing against all these young up and coming players, and they're just so underrated. Just a couple examples of that.
Mm-hmm.
Hans Niemann, who's been,
Mm-hmm.
all over the news recently, and was 2,700 FIDE. I used to play him when he was 2,100 FIDE. I was 300 to 400 points higher rated than him. And look at, how incredible he got in just a couple years after that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and then I lost to Kirk Gazarian, who's like almost a grandmaster now, very strong I am, and he was 1900 at the time. So those are just a couple examples. You can't gain rating playing in fields like that. You can't gain
Mm-hmm.
rating playing against players like that. And it's so I mean ultimately that's the reason why you have so many young kids getting so good because of the internet. A lot of them are homeschooled. They can work with coaches from anywhere in the world. They can work on chess 5 to 8 hours a day, and they just get amazingly good. And it takes a while for their ratings to catch up. And yeah, they pretty much all reach the point where they're better chess players than I am. I don't have the time or the drive to put that kind of effort into chess anymore. And yeah, they're better players, and they eventually get there. But I used to play chess in a time where I had the skill set that the other competitors had. They didn't have a leg up on me. I was, as skilled as they were. I was putting in the time, the work that they were. I was using the resources that they were. And yeah, I think maybe starting about 5 years ago, that just started to not be the case anymore. You just had the game was really revolutionized. There were so many people just studying openings with
Mm-hmm.
cloud engines and really powerful technology and stuff like that, and just the skill set that it took to be an elite player really changed, and it was no longer conducive to a skill set that I really had or really wanted to have. I think would probably be the best answer to that question.
Excellent. Excellent. Makes a lot of sense. I totally get it because I have three that were competing in chess for many years. I totally agree. And that makes so I appreciate you explaining it in that way. But it all makes sense. You were in a time period before that easy computer where you could just open up ChessBase and have all these openings. You could totally prepare against the computer's preparing against the opponent. Then you have all
Right.
these openings. And I noticed a lot of people had like all their opening lines memorized. And it was just like all these different variations. It was yeah, it's very technological these
Well, I just
days.
thought of another way that I think I
Yeah.
can put it in pretty good perspective. So,
Mhm.
chess can be many things. It can be a game, a fight, a sport, an art, a science. Those are
Mhm.
the main things that chess is considered. I think chess always appealed to me the most as a sport,
Mm.
and as an art.
And
I
art,
think I
yes.
think those are the things that I really enjoyed about chess. But I think that more and more chess is becoming a science. So I think
Mm-hmm.
chess is becoming more and more conducive to some of these young players who are, spending 5 to 8 hours a day on their laptops, really doing just extensive opening analysis and that kind of thing. And that's just not really my cup of tea. That's not what I enjoy about chess.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, just to give an example from way back, Mikhail Tal was kind of the ultimate chess artist and competitor.
Mm-hmm.
He would play these, romantic sacrificial games. I think that style and that approach to chess is getting a little bit obsolete in today's game. So I think it's getting harder to play chess that way. And that's, not that I'm anything like Tall, but I think that's kind of what I enjoyed the most about chess, the opportunity to create beauty and also the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to compete, the battle of wills between you and your opponent, who wants it more, that kind of thing. And I think that's becoming a little bit more obsolete in today's game.
Absolutely. I love that art versus science. And it's the beauty. Our sons describe it as like you create a beautiful game, and it's like creating a Picasso. It's
Oh,
like
yes,
creating an artwork. And
absolutely.
especially our middle son, he loved to create his own variations of the opening, and he'd always loved trying something different. And we would laugh that like he would do something out of book, and then he would confuse his opponent. He confused himself maybe, but then he'd love to fight his way out of it. And that was his fun.
Yeah, that's something I enjoyed
He
too,
loves
fighting my
that.
way out of the
See?
tough positions. Yeah.
Exactly. And he would love that. And he would usually in those situations, he would do very well because everyone was out of book, and he just loved creating that artwork and
Yeah.
that beautiful
To
game.
me, that's chess in its purest form.
Yes. And that's
Mhm.
how our sons um, prefer to play it. It's funny. Our youngest, Sebastian, loves tall. I think that's his
Ah,
favorite.
cool.
He loves that attacking like tall. I think there's a book. It's a white book with blue writing. He has it in his nightstand right next to his bed, and he loves tall and the whole sacrificial, and he
Oh
finds
yeah,
it so
tall is
exciting.
so inspirational.
Absolutely. So, excellent discussion. I love that comparison, and it totally makes sense. Art versus science. The beauty of chess in itself is that there's no barriers for
Yeah.
age, culture. You can
Yes.
connect, right?
Yeah,
We went
it just brings people together from all
exactly.
walks of life.
Yeah, we went to World Cadet, and our boys did not, they hung out with all these other kids from Vietnam and, Brazil, and they didn't speak a common language, and they
But
all
chess is
connect.
a common language.
Exactly. It is the language. So they didn't speak it linguistically, with English, but they connected with chess, which is the
Yes, yes,
universal
yes.
language.
And that was my experience too when I worked with another great mentor of mine, my Grandmaster coach, Miran Shir. You're
Mm.
probably familiar with Miran Shir.
Yes,
Yeah.
he taught
Yeah, he
many.
coached
Yeah.
me from the time I was in middle school, and we used to work over the phone. He had just moved to New York. I met him at a
Mm.
camp, and I lived in Nebraska. So at that time, we were using a landline, not even the internet.
Oh my
This was
gosh.
like early 2000s. So we're using a landline and a physical chessboard, and that's how we had our lessons. And he barely spoke English, but we were able to connect speaking the language of chess.
Mm.
And Miran went on just to be an incredible coach for me and an incredible friend, to me and my family. It was definitely tough when he passed away a couple years ago.
Yeah, I know. Very
But
sad.
yeah, just a wonderful man.
Oh, absolutely. I heard he was a fantastic coach. He had coached some others that I were friendly with in the community. I've heard amazing things about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the universal language of chess is amazing. It goes across all ages as well. It's funny, Sebastian, our youngest, would be 5 years old, hanging out in Marshall Chess Club in the Skittles room,
Yeah.
playing with all, older, gentlemen. And it was just amazing how he had more fun with them than he did with kids his own age at times,
Yeah, I
you
think you
know?
learn how to connect with people different ages.
It's
And
amazing,
yeah,
that connection. I love it.
yeah, completely.
Absolutely. So, okay. So you got a chess scholarship to University of Texas at Dallas and you studied psychology. So
Correct.
tell us how that all came about. Were you always loving psychology and what made you go into that?
Oh, yeah, I definitely had some passion for psychology when I was a little bit younger. My dad's educational psychology professor at the
Oh,
University of Nebraska, so I was around that to an extent. And then I enjoyed the psych classes that I had in high school. So I thought that, I wanted to major in I really didn't know what I wanted to do professionally. I thought maybe I'd want to be a professor, but of course that would require getting a PhD. So going into undergrad, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted my career path would to be, and I wanted to study something that I would enjoy. So I yeah, decided to study psychology.
very well. You are a professor of chess. I would definitely say
Yeah,
you
true, I
are.
guess.
Absolutely. Very well known in the chess community as one of the top instructors for chess. So
Thank you.
you've managed to make your way to be a professor in chess.
That's true. I
So
suppose I do have a PhD in chess
yes,
and
yeah,
chess
I would
instruction.
say you do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now spirituality. And
Okay.
that's, you know what, that's how we connected. And we started talking online and through Facebook actually. And our spirituality is in line. And I love all your, posts that you make. And,
Thank
tell
you.
us, you're welcome. How long ago did you have your awakening? And what catalyst brought you to this? Were you always
Great
like this?
question.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say it was right around when I graduated college, when I was
Oh,
22, and I just kind of felt lost in life. I
mm,
didn't really know what I wanted to do next or what life was about, really. So I kind of started asking the bigger questions. And I was feeling just kind of out of place, confused, depressed, anxious, going through a phase that I think is pretty typical for young people, and I think we're seeing a lot more of today.
yes.
And so my path for kind of finding myself ended up being through meditation. At
Mm,
that point, I was just looking for some kind of peace and some kind of comfort. And I definitely got that the most from learning Eastern philosophy. So I think my mom kind of got me into reading some Deepak Chopra.
mm-hmm.
And I had a student who got me into taking a meditation class, like kind of an Eastern, like Indian philosophy, meditation class, and learning to meditate and reading more and more Eastern philosophy about the connection of body, mind, emotion, and spirit,
Mm-hmm.
it really fed my soul. Like it really kind of quelled this deep longing that I had. So naturally, I just wanted to get more and more into it. So I got into a point where I was meditating every day. I was reading all the time. I was doing my best to apply these new philosophies that I was learning to my life. And the impact that it had was just so profound. It just shattered any depression or anxiety that I had. I felt so good. I felt life was really worthwhile. I felt that I could really be the master of my fate and create the life I wanted. So I felt just incredibly empowered. And yeah, that's been just such an incredible blessing in my life to feel the level of peace and joy and happiness and connection and love that I've been able to feel.
Oh, I love that. That the world needs more love. We all need love. Love is what connects us all. And having an empowered mindset, and that's something I always talk about, an empowered, positive growth mindset, and
Yes,
knowing that anything is possible. And
that's
I
right.
love that you went to meditation. Could you please share with us any type of meditation that you preferred or anything that you would recommend for everyone?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. I've come to believe that meditation can be so many things. So I would encourage anyone listening to just trust your own guidance and inspiration and try some things and to go with what feels right to you. In the beginning, one of the first meditations I learned was an Indian Kriya meditation.
Mm.
So Kriya, it means action, and there were a lot of components to it. So like a lot of various breath work, and that kind of thing, and that would really enhance the power of the meditation. It was quite a powerful meditation, but meditation, it doesn't need to be like that. That was about a 30-minute process. Meditation can be simply sitting down with your eyes closed, just keeping your awareness on your breath. You can use mantras like so hum or whatever you want to use,
Mm.
and just focusing on your breath. Your awareness is almost always going to drift, and the key is just to gently guide it back to focusing on your breathing. The key really for meditation, I think, it's to relax your mind and heighten your awareness so that you're not
Mhm.
lost in your mind and your thoughts, but rather you're able to witness your mind and you're able to witness your consciousness and your state of being. And you start to experience life on a completely different level than simply from your mind, which is how it was the only way I knew to experience life before. And I think it's the only way that a lot of people know how to experience life. But there's so much more to the experience of life than simply being lost in your mind and in your thoughts. But it takes a conscious awareness of your consciousness and your experience in order
Mm.
to be able to experience life in that way.
I love that.
So
So,
meditation,
mm.
it really doesn't even need to be anything formal. You don't have to sit cross-legged or anything like that. These days, honestly, I don't meditate very much, and maybe I should, but I kind of feel like in the 10 to 15 years since I started, that my life has almost become kind of a living meditation. So
Mm.
I feel like I can access meditative states simply as I move through life. So driving can be very meditative, although be careful when you're first starting out.
Yeah.
Don't want to get anyone in a car accident. But just walking can be very meditative.
Mm.
Definitely being in nature, and connecting with nature. So probably my best advice would be, don't feel a need to make meditation into anything that's not right for you. Like if you don't want to sit still, or like sit a certain way or something like that, then you don't need to do that. But meditation can be expansive. It can be anything that you want to make it. I think the key it's really just connecting with the deepest part of yourself. It's
Mm.
self-connection. That's really what meditation is.
Absolutely. I love that. Right on. Everything you're saying totally resonates with me. It's a personal experience it's about going deeper inside ourselves and learning about ourselves, being aware and understanding. And, we have a society of overthinking
Yes.
and our
Big
mind,
time.
right? We're bombarded with information. We have bandwidth constraint and we're overwhelmed with noise, and so it's about clearing out your mind and just going to the very moment and witnessing, being aware, experiencing in the moment. And I always say about going down to the very second And it's not just about focusing, we focus on our month, and we focus on our week, and then we focus on our day. And it's like, then you go to the hour, and then I'm like, let's go to the minute. Let me just feel this minute, and then let me just feel this second. And I got to tell you, Keaton, when I go down to that level, I feel a calmness. I
Yes.
feel a peacefulness, right? That I don't feel so overwhelmed as when I look at a whole day. I'm like, oh, I got to get all this stuff done. But when I go to the second, I'm like, I have everything I need right in this moment. And at that stage, when you feel complete, you're able to do anything.
And you can't think that, you can only feel that.
Yes.
And I think that's part of the issue, is that a lot of times we think about something like that, and there's maybe it doesn't feel very good.
Yeah,
But
you gotta
it's like, or maybe you
feel.
think about meditation and it doesn't feel very good. But you have to actually, there's a process of action,
Mm.
of inspired action that's involved. It's kind of like, if I got an invitation to go to the beach or to go for a walk out in nature, maybe in my mind I say, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to stay in bed, or I want to stay home and relax. The thought of it doesn't sound very good to me. But then I actually do it, and I'm always just, in bliss. I never come back home and say, man, I wish I hadn't gone to the beach today. Or,
Yeah.
I wish I hadn't gone for a walk in nature today. It always feels good, but it's like you have to find a way to actually do it so that you can experience it, because the experience of something is different from the energy of thinking about it.
Absolutely. I love that. It's experiencing and being in that moment, in that action, feeling it, being immersed in it. And there's nothing like it. And just talking. That's why I always say, act, don't talk. There's a lot
Yeah.
of talkers in the world, but
Yeah.
act, just do it. We regret more the things we don't do. So it's important to just do it and experience it and do what feels right, like you said. I mean, for me, I love Zazen meditation, and that really resonates with me. And
Yeah.
I try to do it. I should be doing it more often, but it's it really is something I enjoy, and it feels right. And that's key. And it does clear my mind, and I feel at peace. So tell us.
Chase what inspires you.
Yes, exactly. And when you're in that peaceful state, I create and I come up with so many ideas. And it's we our minds, it's like we're almost afraid that we're gonna lose something, that if we just let everything go, we're gonna lose something. And it's no, the process of letting go is part of nature. It's we need to learn to let go, and let go of thoughts and clear our mind. And there's The Peaceful Warrior is a book, and it was a movie as well. And I talk about taking out the trash in your mind.
So
And
important.
right, and we need to just detox and clear out our minds.
Hmm.
And and through that cleansing process, we're able to create and just be in fulfillment. That's the key. And I always tell everyone, it's not about your accomplishments. It's about fulfillment. And you need to feel fulfilled as a human to really reach bliss and happiness.
That's
And
right.
right. And it's about fulfillment. So, and I think that can be achieved through being in a peaceful state and being present and mindful of our
Right,
actions.
exactly. Because when we do our own work and we
Hmm.
raise our level of consciousness,
Yes.
we're not just doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for all of life.
Hmm.
So being at our best helps everyone.
Yes.
It helps everyone around us, and then that radiates out even more. So no living being is an island. We're all connected.
We're all connected. Absolutely. And by me being happy and creating positive vibes and positive energy and spreading kindness and to you, then you do the same. And it's like we all just create this positivity, and it's a collective
We help
consciousness.
everyone.
We
Yeah.
help everyone. And it's just like, I always tell people, our mental states are, we don't think of mental state in the same way as like having a virus. Let's say, well, that is more tangible. We think of, when someone has the flu, it's contagious. They can spread it to other people. Well, your mental state can be
Sure.
spread to other people, right?
Yes. Oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah. So when
Absolutely.
I'm happy and I'm with my kids and I'm smiling and I'm spreading positive vibes, I can convert their moods from being not so happy to happy. And it's
Yeah.
just about perspective, and it's about spreading those good vibes. But then at the
Yes.
same time, when you go into a space and let's say a shop or somewhere, you go to a store and someone's in a bad mood, you can
Mm-hmm.
feel it.
Oh,
And
completely.
yeah, and it can spread to you if you're not fully aware. And
Yes.
so it's absolutely, by putting out the good vibes, the good energy, we spread that to other people and we all elevate together. It's an abundance mindset.
That's
And,
right.
and that's what we do. Our job here on this planet is to leave it a better place than when we came. And it's our role to do good and to help others. I mean, what else is there
Well,
to
and
do?
when we do good for others, we do good for ourselves.
Yes,
And when we do good for ourselves, we do good for others.
exactly. I love that. Excellent. I love it. And we're all givers. And I always say it's only in giving that we truly receive. And
Yeah, beautiful.
absolutely. And so I love all this. So tell us, I think you do a little Reiki, or is
I
it
do.
Jeet Kune Do? Is that what you do? Or what
I
is that?
do the main ones that I do are Reiki, Deeksha,
Ah,
and
Deeksha.
Jore.
Ooh, is that
Hmm.
that Japanese one?
Yeah, Jore is Japanese. Yeah.
Ooh, tell us
Hmm.
about those and how you went into Reiki, and what led you there.
Yeah, so when I was in San Diego, I'd say maybe about 4 years ago, something like that, I got very involved with some of the spiritual community there.
Mm,
And so there were, I would go to these meditative or spiritual circles where they were doing some of these things. And the first one that I came across was Deeksha,
mm,
and Deeksha, I believe, originated in India, many hundreds or maybe a couple thousand years ago, something like that. And Deeksha is a oneness blessing. So it's a transfer of energy that practitioners get attuned to, and then they channel this energy and they place their hands on your head
mm,
and transfer this energy. And to me, I think I've always kind of been a mix of East and West. I'm
mm,
into spirituality and feeling and everything like that, but I'm also very much in my mind. And my mind and my Western way of looking at things is very skeptical. So I'm not gonna believe in something just because I'm told it. I really need to experience something in order to believe it. And I think what really got me so into energy work was just the extent to which I could feel it. I mean, it's like to a certain extent, it's like, holy shit, someone's putting their hands on my head and I'm just feeling this energy coursing through my
mm,
body. Like this is amazing. This is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. It's like I could really feel the impact of it.
mm,
And because of that, I experienced so many things. And part of that, and something that's always been very important to me, and I guess you could say maybe a pain that I've kind of carried within me, it's like, if I can experience this, and I know firsthand experientially how powerful it is and how
mm,
impactful it is, why is this kind of thing not more accepted in
mm-hmm.
mainstream society? Why is it not bigger? Why is it not
Yeah, why
more
isn't it?
well known? It's such an interesting question.
Hmm, why isn't it?
And,
Mm,
I felt the same way when I experienced Reiki. And I think I'm not exactly sure why, but of all the kinds of energy work that I'm most, that I've come across, I think Reiki is by far the most popular in the
mm-hmm.
US. So I'm not exactly sure why that is, but it seems like a lot of people, even if they're not in that world, have heard of Reiki before. Maybe because it's practiced a little more commonly in the West. It's part of medical
Mm-hmm.
practice in some places or stuff like that. So yeah, Reiki just seems to have caught on and been very popular. I am attuned to Reiki. I'm a Reiki 2 practitioner.
Mm,
However, I really don't practice Reiki that much. I think of the ones that I learned Reiki, I always kind of felt the least called to it.
mm,
I think that might be because Reiki is kind of a blue ocean. It really is kind of what the practitioner makes it, and I think I like personally how with Deeksha and with Jore, your work as the practitioner is more defined. Whereas Reiki, you have a lot more flexibility, and like I didn't always like that. But anyway, I guess we should probably explain a little more what Reiki is for people
yeah.
who aren't familiar. So, I mean, Reiki, it's I think all energy work. I mean, you can think of it's like you have energy channels, just like you have physical channels, where blood is running through your veins and stuff like that in your physical body. We have energy channels also, of course. We are energetic beings.
Mm-hmm.
And energy is everything, to our being and our life. And um so if you get attuned to a certain kind of very ancient, very powerful energy like Deeksha or Reiki that has, a rich tradition over hundreds or thousands of years, it's a very powerful, very healing energy that you can get attuned to and then you can share, with other people. So Reiki is very commonly used in treatments, and it can be kind of a laying on of the hands, or it can not. It can be completely non-contact, where you just, through your intention, you transfer that energy to another person. And I've had numerous Reiki sessions done on me where, like, I really felt the energy mostly in the form of electricity. I felt it kind of like
Mm-hmm.
electricity running through my circuits, that kind of thing.
Wow, it's powerful. So Deeksha has more of a defined, could you tell us what you mean by defined?
So, I mean, Deeksha, the way I was taught as a practitioner, it's very quick. I mean, I can tell you what I do. I normally use the visualization process
Mm,
where as I'm breathing in, I feel like I'm drawing in this healing light from the
mm-hmm.
highest source, and I feel like it's going into my hands. And then I intend, I ask my spirit guides who are helping me through this process, or the what's the way that, I guess, ascended masters who have
Mm-hmm.
been, involved with Deeksha. These are, energetic beings or angelic
Mm-hmm.
beings, however you want to look at
Mm-hmm.
that. So I'm kind of asking for their guidance with this process, and I visualize my hands feeling with this source energy, this higher
Mm-hmm.
dimensional light, and then I turn my hands over and I place them, on the head of the person I'm sharing Deeksha with, and as I breathe out, I'm intending that this energy, that I'm a channel or a conduit, and this energy is flowing through me, and it's flowing into this person's being, and it's blessing them, with this wonderful energy of oneness and connection.
Ah, beautiful. I love that. That oneness. I've done a violet flame meditation. I don't know if
Yeah,
you must
sure.
have, I love that,
With Saint Germain and
Yes,
yeah.
Saint Germain, exactly. I've enjoyed that. And I do Qigong quite often,
Oh,
which
I
is
think Qigong's amazing. I
isn't
love
it
Qigong.
amazing? Years
Yeah.
ago, Frank, you met my husband Frank.
Your husband, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he has been loves qigong. He's been doing it, I think, what, 25 years now or something. There's this great master, forgot his name, but he does his videos, and too bad I forgot his name, but yeah, he's great. And then I've been doing qigong, on and off, but lately much more, and it's just a great energy exercise. It's just a great way to transfer energy and balance yourself. So
Hmm.
I love all that. Your life is like an intersection of this healing, energy, spirituality, psychology, and positive mindset, empowered mindset, Keaton. You're very special. And
Thank
you
you.
have chess right in the middle. And it's from chess that you teach, and you're teaching in chess. How I know you started teaching after you graduated, and that's what I read. You started after you graduated with your psychology degree, you went
True.
right into
Yeah, I got right
chess.
into teaching. Yep.
What was the catalyst? When did you say, I'm gonna
Needing money.
that's always a good one.
Needing money and not being qualified to do anything else.
And did you at that point make plan to be a chess instructor as was this a passion you had, or is it just evolved to where you are
I
now?
I think it's always been a passion that I had, but it certainly wasn't the plan. I think, I mean, I think like most young people, I went through a phase where I wanted to do a lot of different things. I wanted to own a restaurant until I found out how much work that would be. I wanted to be a professor. But so I think I've always been very passionate about teaching. I think I've always enjoyed it. And you know, I grew up in a large family because both my parents remarried. So I had, not only a dad and a mom, but also a stepdad and a stepmom.
Hmm.
And all four of them have been educators. My dad being a university professor, my stepmom was an early childhood educator, and now she's a professor as well. And my mom worked for a Head Start program uh, for low income kids from low income families, and my stepdad was a school psychologist. So I think, growing up, I always had these role models who were educators. And so I learned that, and I thought they were doing great things in the world. So I always had a passion for that. So I think I always did kind of see myself as a teacher, as an
Mm-hmm.
educator. Well, now, when I started teaching chess, I had no idea where it would go or how much I'd enjoy it, but I started making good money and I enjoyed it. I felt like it was rewarding. I enjoyed connecting with the people
Mm-hmm.
I was working with and feeling like I was having a positive impact on their lives. And it was a very comfortable thing for me to do. I was able to set my own hours and my own schedule and that kind of thing. So yeah, it just took off.
Awesome. Well, we're very grateful that you are a teacher in chess. You've touched so many people, and and Paris still talks about his lessons with you, how you were very different. Not only were you so, brilliant with your chess knowledge, very extensive, but you also had that holistic approach, which is key. And, I always say in trading, investing, in business, mindset is everything.
Yeah,
And
it is.
success is a mindset game. And
Hmm.
I think in competition, mindset's at least 80%. You can have all the best skills in chess, but if you can't tame
Oh
that
yeah,
monkey up here, if you
yeah,
can't get control over your mind, it'd be very
yes,
difficult to win games or to be successful in anything. So tell us, Keaton, this empowered mindset that you have, the accepting failures, because we all fail, we all make mistakes. That's part of life. There's a quote that says, if you didn't make a mistake, you didn't really try. And
yeah, right.
you're right. So
Yeah.
that picking yourself up and going forward again, learning from those mistakes and coming back stronger and better, anti-fragile. Tell us about your mindset and how it evolved to that and how you find the good in the bad.
Wow. That's really, yeah, that's great. Um, well, I think I've come to, I mean, obviously, I'm somewhat of a philosopher and someone who
Mhm.
really likes to think about life, and like what is the point of life? And at least the way I see it, there's not really much of a point to a life where you're not transcending and overcoming challenges. I think of the point of life as being to grow and to
Mhm.
evolve. And it's like we're always changing, but to grow in a way that's for our highest evolution, to grow and to change in the highest and the best direction possible for ourselves and for others, for those around us. So I don't think that we can really grow, change, or evolve in a wonderful, positive direction if we're not overcoming challenges and transcending parts of ourselves that aren't serving us anymore. So I've come to believe that life has this incredible intelligence. Like if you were to ask me, Keaton, how would you like your life to be in 5 years? And I told you
Mhm.
everything that I wanted, from financially, relationship wise, friendship wise, as far as where I live, everything that I want, in 5 years. And then you said, okay, would you like it to unfold this way? I would actually say no, because I know that the universe has a much higher intelligence than my local
Mhm.
intelligence from my local mind. And I've gotten to experience firsthand in my journey how it's possible for my life to unfold in a way that's so incredible and so miraculous that it transcends anything that I could have even imagined in the past. So my answer to the question would be, I want that. I
Mhm.
want my life to unfold in the way that maybe my subconscious or my higher self knows is possible, but my local mind that I use to think doesn't even know is possible.
Oh, I love that. Beautiful. I think, I don't know, you're, when you speak, it's so poetic and
Yeah.
I just love it. I feel the same way. We have goals and, everyone always talks about having goals, it's important to
Hmm.
have goals, right? But something happened to me this year, this podcast. Okay. I
Yeah,
never,
congratulations.
thank
It's
you.
amazing. And you're
Thank you
you're
so
getting some
much.
incredible people, it sounds
Yeah,
like.
it's amazing. And I actually been speaking with Irina Crush. She's supposed to be coming on, but she's been so busy now that she won that amazing in St. Louis, the American Cup.
Oh
And
yeah.
she's been so busy. I said,
Well,
we'll
she's
take,
such a legend.
she's a legend. She's amazing. A brilliant woman, so sweet. And I became friends with her years ago with the kids. We used to hang out in Marshall together.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, we're very fortunate. The thing in New York is that you have a great chess community. So I got to meet these amazing people, and I love chess people. They're so
Oh yeah, they're
humble,
so fascinating.
fascinating people, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like you, to your point, I never planned for this podcast. If you a year ago, I never would have thought that I'd be here right now
Yeah.
speaking with amazing people like you and all these people and enlightening others. And that's the key. That's the reason why I do this, is to help others, enlighten, share my knowledge and experiences, interview amazing people to all elevate together. And so this is what this is what the universe had planned for me. And it wasn't something that I had requested or planned. And it's exactly like you said. It just happened that our higher selves had this plan and that our minds did not even know of. And it's just amazing, this journey that I'm here helping others. And it's just been so rewarding. It's just like how you
And
said
that's
about teaching. Mhm.
yeah, that's just beautiful, Rosanna. And yeah, if I can relay a message to listeners from the bottom of
Please.
my heart, it would be that, sometimes life is very tough and very
Hmm.
challenging,
I love that. Yes.
but it is for our growth.
Hmm.
And the message that I really want to relay is we don't have to go through it alone.
Hmm.
We don't have to suffer it alone. And I've been blessed to be a part of many communities in life, and the one nearest and dearest to my heart is the chess community. That's
Hmm.
certainly where I feel the most connected and where I have the most passion. And I think it's just a very important message in the chess community that we don't have to do this alone. We can connect with each other. We can support each other. We can help each other,
Hmm.
and we can continue to form beautiful friendships and incredible community, and we can really support each other as we go through this process
Of
of
love.
life
Life.
and
Exactly.
of personal growth. So
Exactly.
to me some of the beauty in that is chess is kind of the ultimate zero sum game.
Hmm.
For a winner, there has to be a loser, but to be able to learn as chess players that in life it doesn't have to be that way, that we can have each other's back, and that
I
we
love
can
that.
come together as a community and support each other. That's probably my greatest passion in this life.
Oh, I love that. And that's, we connected through chess. It was chess
Yeah,
that brought us all together. And many of my connections are through the chess community. And what an amazing group of people, how we're all connected. And, you know, I love that point you brought up. And the zero sum game. Chess is the ultimate zero sum game. There's always a winner, and then there's one who's losing. And
hmm,
there's sometimes there are draws, fine, but ultimately my win is your loss and vice versa. And
yeah,
that's zero
that's how
sum
it
game.
is.
Exactly. So, Keaton, someone like you who's all about collective consciousness, abundance mindset, how do you balance that zero sum game and teach, as a chess teacher, the abundance mindset?
Well, that's such a wonderful question, and I think the answer for me is that it's important for the victory not to be only in the scoreboard. Like for
Mm.
me, at the end of the day, if I can play chess as well as I can play and compete as well as I can compete, and if I can allow the game of chess to unlock my creativity and my compassion and my my passion for the game, maybe compassion too, but maybe not. But that then to me that's a victory. That's a win. So if chess can be a vehicle
Mm.
for self-discovery, for connection, for empowerment, and for learning life lessons, then I think that's always a win. So one of the greatest moments I feel like for me in my chess career was when I stopped caring so much about these external achievements, things
Mm.
like making GM or having this rating or winning this tournament or what have you, and started to focus more on the intrinsic values of chess, how
Mm.
chess can help me in life, how chess can make me a better person, how chess can teach valuable lessons, that kind of thing. That was really the culmination of my chess journey and my spiritual journey.
Oh, I love that. Right on. And what else can I say? I mean, you nailed it. I mean, that's exactly it. Chess teaches us about ourselves, and it's ultimately about self-realization, self-discovery, know thyself.
Yes.
And, as we compete and as we trade as traders, there's something with that immediate punishment you get, that constant feedback loop. When you lose a game or win a game, it's just you get in touch with yourself, your emotions, and
Yes.
emotions are good.
Oh, for
But
sure.
absolutely, and they teach you about yourself. We actually learn a lot from our mistakes, and
Well, and I
right,
think we really should tune into our emotions. We should
yes,
feel our emotions.
feel them. And everyone talks about how emotions are bad, and actually, I think what they really mean to say is the reactions, the impulsiveness based on those heightened emotions can get
Right.
us into trouble.
Yes,
Like
yes.
when you play a game, and let's say you make you lose 2 games in a row. And I know my sons had this issue, that they would just keep on losing,
Hmm.
because it's just got in their minds and they just couldn't get over that loss. So that's an example of when your emotions can affect you in a negative way if you don't use them properly. However, to identify and to understand the emotions, it gives you great information about yourself. And that's how you
Oh,
said,
completely.
yeah,
That's how
you
you really
learn.
know yourself.
Yes. And chess is so analogous to life, and it like mimics life, and life mimics chess. And, you know, it's just amazing the kind of life lessons you can learn from chess. And it's about
Yeah.
focusing on the journey, the process, and not
Hmm.
so much, like you said, the result. The rating number, getting caught up with, the titles, that's part of it, but it's not getting fixated on that's your ultimate goal. It's about the journey and loving the process, because being as accomplished as you are in chess, that you spent most of your time in the process and not on that stage getting that big award.
That's
You know,
right.
right?
Yeah.
That was a brief moment and it was beautiful, but you spent your time working hard, practicing, and in the process. So love the process,
That's
is
right.
what I always tell our sons. It's finding opportunities in the challenges, finding the good in the bad, and accepting your moment. You said, there's always going to be difficulties, and it's true. A life without challenges is a life not worth living, right? If everything
Hmm.
were so easy,
What's the point?
what's the point? I learned,
Yeah.
yeah, right? We build character and we learn the most through the difficult times.
Yeah.
And it's important for us to be in that moment. When we resist that moment is when we have suffering, right?
Oh, sure.
So it's embracing that
Because
moment.
we're resisting life.
Yes, exactly. And to have gratitude. And gratitude is something that I say, just practice gratitude every day, being thankful for everything you have, because everything is fleeting and it can be gone in a moment. So just be grateful for everything, right?
And you can never be wealthy if you're not grateful for what you
Yes.
have. Because then it doesn't matter how much you have. If you're
Mm-hmm.
not grateful for it, if you don't enjoy it, you're not rich. You're not wealthy. So being wealthy or being abundant, it's a mindset, and
Mm-hmm.
it starts with appreciating what you have.
Exactly. And it's
Starts
about,
with being thankful, grateful,
yes.
appreciative for what you have, and you know.
Absolutely. It's not about having more. It's about
Hmm.
actually reducing what you want below what you have.
Right.
So,
Because if you can't be satisfied with what you
mhm,
have, you're never going to be satisfied with more.
exactly.
There's never going to be a point where it's enough.
Hmm. It's never enough. Agreed
It's never enough.
completely.
Yeah.
Exactly. So change is inevitable. And I think Tony Robbins said this, you're either growing or dying.
Yeah,
So,
wow, that's a
right?
That's a good way to say it.
We're
Yeah, never
always
at anchor is what I like to say. Yeah.
exactly. I love that. We're always in a state of flux. There's so many moving parts in life. Life is movement and constant change. So, it's important to, for me, I like to always be learning and improving and growing. So Keaton, this evolution and your spirituality, this growth, where do you see? I know you don't want to plan for the future, but in this continuum you're on, what are your passions that you see? I know you just moved, it seems like yesterday, from Southern California to Northern California.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, what the catalyst was for you to say, you know what, I need a change and I want to go to Northern Cal.
Oh, I'd love to
And
talk about that.
yeah, please tell us about that state and where you see yourself in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, I do like to plan, so I don't want to give that impression.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's an art to it where you plan and yet you still stay a little bit detached from your plans, like a little
Yes.
bit open to the
Flexible,
moment and
right?
flexible,
Flexible.
yeah, to
Mm-hmm.
what life brings. But
Mm-hmm.
I do like to plan and I do like to dream and to visualize and all those things because I think that helps bring manifestations to reality
Yes.
when we visualize what it is we desire. But yeah, I'd love to talk about that. So, I was in San Diego almost 9 years, and I loved San Diego. Paris, I'm sure, heard me talk about how
I
much
think
I love.
everyone loves San Diego. We love
Yeah,
San
yeah.
Diego.
I
Mhm.
loved San Diego. And if you'd asked me maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I would have said I'd probably live my whole life in San Diego. I
Oh,
had no
wow.
plans to leave. It was home. But I definitely did start to feel a change in the energy. And I really
Mm.
started to crave a change of environment. But of course, it had to be something better. And to me, the San Francisco Bay Area represented something unexplored which excited me, and something which I really thought could bring some new and wonderful things into my life.
Mm.
I mean, of course, in order to want to leave, you always have to feel a little bit uncomfortable with where you are. And I
Mm-hmm.
think what was making me feel a little bit uncomfortable, I felt like I was stagnating in San Diego. I
Oh.
felt like I wasn't really, I was very happy, but I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I wasn't really growing or going anywhere.
Mm.
I was just very content. And I wanted to challenge myself to try to experience a new frontier. And the Bay Area, it just represented everything that really excited me that I wanted to experience. For example, much more green. So San Diego, of course, you have amazing beaches, but you don't have a lot of greenery. It's kind of a
Mm.
deserty, terrain. But the Bay Area, there's so much hiking, there's so many trees, just so much natural beauty. It's really an oasis. You're close to places like Yosemite and Tahoe, and so that really inspired me. Was just being in a greener, more kind of more natural feeling environment. Now, as we talked about, I'm a total foodie, so I think the Bay Area just has some of the best food and
Mm.
best dining in the world. It's so easy to get healthy, natural food. There are so many farms nearby, just so many amazing cuisines. I love the sushi and Japanese cuisine
Mm.
around here. The Indian is just incredible, and those are probably my two favorites, although I really love everything. Culturally, it's wonderful. You have just such a wide range and mix of cultures and of diversity. It's great for chess, both as a player and as a coach. It's just an active, thriving chess community. There are a lot of people looking for lessons. There are a lot of tournaments and great opportunities to play. Um, it it's definitely a challenge that it's a little bit colder environment, and I tend to love, that warmth of San Diego. But, I think part of the challenge for me in coming here was, I left a very comfortable life, and not that my
Mm.
life here isn't comfortable and wonderful. It really has been. But I do want to kind of make myself a little less comfortable and force myself to grow and to try new things. So, I tried surfing for the first time, which is kind of funny because I managed the team called the San Diego Surfers. So it was my first time
Yeah.
trying surfing. I've been getting into martial arts. I took a boxing class, and I want to get more into qigong and kind of different, more physical ways of incorporating spirituality. So I'm trying stuff like that. I still have a very active social life. I know a lot of people in the Bay Area. I'm trying to meet more and more people and that kind of thing. But it's, of course, to go to a new place and meet new people is always a good social challenge, and I like that as well.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And just hearing you speak about your new experiences in the Bay Area just demonstrates exactly what you said about stagnation in San Diego.
Right,
Because,
I was stagnating in San Diego. That's
because,
why I left.
yeah, because when you say you tried surfing in the BayArea, what? I would think you would have tried it in San Diego,
I
but
know, isn't that funny?
right.
No, I actually tried it in Hawaii.
Ah,
Yeah,
nice.
I actually tried it while I was
That's
out
the
in
place.
Hawaii. But I think, yeah, I think the move to the Bay Area has been coupled with a mentality of just, getting more out there and trying new things.
Yeah, wow. That's that I just love hearing your stories about all these new things you've tried lately. It just shows that you're opening up those energy channels and it's
That's
flowing
right.
and
That's
you're
right.
flowing. And I see your smile, I see your pictures in the Bay Area. I love that picture with the Golden Gate.
Oh
And,
yeah, yeah.
you radiate. And I think this is what you needed. And it's great that you were in touch with yourself and you knew what you needed because you felt that stagnation in San Diego.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that was a perfect time in my life to do that because I think, being in San Diego and Southern California served such a purpose for me. But I feel like this really is the right time in my life to make this change. And I've built skill sets that have helped me to fully experience this change in life in a way that I wouldn't have been able to at a different point in my life. So I feel like it's really the right time for me to be taking on this new frontier and this new challenge. And I've
Awesome.
been loving it. It's been great.
Awesome. So happy for you. It's very exciting to hear that. And I also like to have a framework, a plan for the future, but always remain open minded and flexible to change because things can always change. And I always feel that the universe has great plans for us. And,
Oh
the
yes.
good things are always there to come. And it's not a smooth ride, but that's what makes it all more exciting and fun. And we grow along the way. I just remembered that Qigong master that Frank loves, Gary Garapoli. That's his name. I remember it
That's
rhymed.
very Italian.
Yeah, he's Italian and he's amazing Qigong master. And so Frank really enjoys working with his techniques. I use a few, but he's fantastic. So if you're going into Qigong, I'd recommend him.
Is he
Um,
in New York?
no, he's in, I don't even know, but he's on YouTube.
Oh,
And
okay, cool. I'll
yeah,
look him
so
up.
I use, yeah, his videos and he has his whole video series. We actually bought his VHS videos back in
Oh, no way.
2000. We actually, I think we still have them somewhere. We're from like late 90s. But yeah, it's amazing stuff. And it was really touching. I love Qigong. Um, you know, I want to talk a little bit about your, being accountable and acceptance. And I know you've mentioned this before about not being in denial and accepting things for how they are. Could you tell us how you view that whole mindset of being
Yeah,
accountable and accepting? Mhm.
absolutely. Well, this moment that we're in right now is inevitable.
Mm.
It can't not be. It simply is. So the extent to which we resist this current moment is the extent to which we resist life.
Mm.
And we can resist life all we want, but it's not fun and it doesn't help anything. Now, it's okay to want things to be different or to want things to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a total idealist. But it simply can't be that way in this moment. So there's just no use in resisting the moment the way it is. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the way that we can claim our power is to accept that, to first accept the moment the way it is, and then to take the necessary action toward creating our desired change. But I think any energy that we're using to resist the current moment is wasted energy, and it's a drain on our energy,
Mm.
and it makes us less effective at creating our desired change.
I love
So
that.
if we want things to be different, great, but let's accept the moment the way it is and then take inspired action toward creating the change that we want to create.
Beautifully said. Have you written a book or about this? I mean, this is beautiful. This is wisdom.
I've read a lot of books.
Well,
I've
you
read a
you've
lot. Yeah.
pulled you've created this Keaton wisdom that I loved. I just love listening to you speak.
Thank you so
So
much.
you're welcome. Thank you
Very kind.
for being here. It's just agree. I mean, it's that resistance to the moment is when we suffer and we go against the energy flow. And it's like,
Hmm.
even it's okay. Like I love what you said, it's okay to want change and it's okay to want things to be different.
And we
But
should.
yes,
Yeah.
but in this moment, accept and be accountable. And I always say your life is a summation of your decisions. So if you
Hmm.
want to change where you're at right now, start changing your mindset, changing your decision making to transform your life. And that's what
Yeah.
we want everyone to know, that just because you don't like where you're at right now doesn't mean you can't change it. You
Oh,
can
completely.
absolutely, anything is possible. Change is inevitable, so change it the way you want it. Just accept where you're at right now. And even in
Makes life
diets,
much easier
right?
if you
Even
accept
yes, like
the
even
present
in
moment. Yeah.
yeah, in diets, like people diet, right? And they don't want to look in the mirror. They don't want to see what they look like. And that's part of the process. You need to look at yourself, love
Hmm.
yourself, right? Right, Keaton? You
Yeah.
need to love and accept yourself for how you are in this moment. And hey, if I say I want to be 20 pounds lighter, that's totally possible. Absolutely. But it starts with loving myself and accepting myself for right now. And then I
Hmm.
can plan the journey to being 20 pounds lighter or looking better or whatever the goal is. But we need to love ourselves. And then from loving ourselves, we're able to accept and make those positive changes. Also, it's important to love ourselves so we can accept love from others. And, if we don't love ourselves, right?
Yes.
Right. I always tell people it's important to love yourself because otherwise you may not be able to accept love from others, right?
Now, self-love is a very tricky concept, and I think a
Mm.
lot of people don't really get what it means. What
No.
would you say self-love means to you?
Now you're asking me questions. I
Yeah,
love it.
I'm the interviewer
Yeah, I love it. You're awesome.
now.
You're a great interviewer. Okay, well, self-love is about being kind to yourself, accepting yourself, being good to yourself. And people can sometimes misunderstand and think it means being selfish, and it's not at all. It's actually just being good, doing good, and radiating that goodness because love is how we're all connected. Love is the
Yeah.
most purest emotion. It's the unconditional love. And that's what we have with the one, the source. It's all love radiating. And it's important to have that open channel so we love ourselves and we can radiate that love with ourselves to others. And it's great.
So it's not a zero sum kind of love.
No,
It's
it's an
not
abundance.
loving yourself at someone else's expense.
No,
It's loving yourself not only for yourself but
yeah,
for
for
the good of the
everyone.
collective.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's always an abundance mindset. Love is abundance, and the more you love, the more there is love. It's like it's just abundant. What do you
I
think?
think you made one other really key point, and that was the self-acceptance. So I
Mm,
think because I've I work with a lot of people who struggle with self-love.
yeah.
Um and I can see why. I think self-love can be very hard. And I think a lot of times maybe what people struggle the most with is the self-acceptance. And
Mm,
I think the reason for that, especially maybe for people in the chess community, is there's always a striving to be better, right? Like as a
mm,
chess player, you're always striving to get better than the chess player that you just were. And so I think there's kind of a natural logic. It's like, okay, well, if I want to be better, then that means I shouldn't accept myself the way I am, right?
mm,
It means that the way I am right now is not good enough. Therefore, I shouldn't love and accept myself the
mm,
way I am. I
mm.
think that's a really key point.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
but maybe by kind of merging the philosophies that we both shared, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first accepting the
Mm-hmm.
present moment the way it is, first accept myself the way I am now, and then I can love myself the way I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But then I can take inspired action toward my desired change. Just because I love myself the way I am now, it doesn't mean that I want to be the way I am now forever,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Love
I'm
that.
still going to grow and change and evolve. And maybe part of me, maybe the deepest part of me is still the same, going through those processes. But a lot of me is going to continue to grow, change, and evolve, but I can love myself the way I am now, accept myself the way I am, and then take the inspired action toward the
Mm,
change. And
love
that
that.
love might even be a catalyst that brings about that change even more profoundly.
Love that. Wow. Just beautiful wisdom. I love this. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much, Keaton, for hanging with me today and
Oh,
speaking.
this has been wonderful.
This has been amazing. Is there anything we missed that you want to add?
Honestly, I don't feel that way.
Me either.
Sometimes I do at the end of interviews, but I feel like we pretty much covered it.
I love it. I think there's no better way to end than with love. And I think
Hmm.
that was a great way to end this. I want you to please just tell us how people can find you and stay in touch with you to hear about your wisdom on life and chess. If they want to learn chess and study, how can they reach you?
Yeah, sure. By all means, feel free to reach out to me. My website is keatonkiewrachess.com. Maybe we can like put it in the
I
like in
will.
the comments or
I'm going to put it
something.
in the
So
description.
yeah, I mean, you'll find out about me as a chess player, but my contact info is on there, my phone, my email. So feel free to send an email or text or something like that. I don't really answer calls. You can feel free to look me up on social media, Facebook or Instagram or something like that, or just through the grapevine. So yeah, I feel like I'm always kind of guided where I'm called, but yeah, I mean, I do see myself as a bridge, connecting and uniting so many worlds. And as I've talked about, my greatest passion is the chess world and the people that I'm connected to in chess. And I'm always very happy to share my journey and share my experience And, I know a lot of people in chess right now are going through a tough time, and I've been through tough times, and sometimes I still have tough times. And so
Mm,
I'm just always happy to be there, to
yeah.
support anyone
Support.
who needs support. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This was all meant to be and meant to happen. And I'm so happy we did this. And we hope to elevate everyone together to be the best version of ourselves. And so thank you so much to you, Keaton, and to all the
Thank you.
listeners.
Thank you, Rosanna. This was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Rose Show podcast. Please visit rosannaprestia.com for more episodes. See you soon. All investment, real estate, financial, legal, and tax opinions expressed by Rosanna Prestia or on The Rose Show should not be relied upon as professional advice and are intended to be used for informational purposes only.